No. Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for attending this interactive session. It's just all so new for us. Uh, Thank you, Rose B, if I'm just pronouncing your name correctly. Sorry for I just entered late. Today I'm going to present my work on understanding the tactile motion coordinate transforms that happen in the somatosensory cortex. I've been working with Greg DeAngelis, Ralph Hafner, and Manuel Gomez Ramirez at the Haptic Perception Lab. Please feel free after the talk to interact, and this is my email ID for the same. Uh, what do we know about tactile motion so far? From Pace 2008 study, we know, like in the MT cortex, the local motion cues on the sensory area are pulled together, and that gives us the perceived direction, which with gradually then approaches the vertical direction. As envisioned, there's conflict between the cues. So if you see this grating over there, so these two gratings are contradictorily moving, one towards the left, one towards the right, but the vertical motion they give a sense of is downwards. So as envisioned, the conflict between the cues from the terminators, which is uh, any of these red points here, uh, is resolved by, and the other local motion cues, which are the component areas here, which are the green and the purple ones here, are resolved over time, so that we perceive the direction as the vertical direction. In Pace 2011 study, they found out that area 3B in the somatosensory cortex was the one that was responding to these local cues, which are these component vectors, the purple and the green ones. And the higher processing stages were performed in area 1 of the somatosensory cortex, which was integrating component 1, component 2, which is the green, purple, and the red, the terminator guys over there, to give the vertical motion, which also they put out a model called the full vector average model, which was a weighted integration of these terminator and component direction to give the vertical direction. The problem with these studies was that they were only performed with the hand only placed in one position. Uh, Building a bit of intuition here about proprioception. Proprioception is basically the modulation of the hand by the arm proprioceptors. Just bringing up this anecdotal example, if you hold an object in a supinated position and it moves from the fingertips to the mid pad of your fingers, the object is perceived to move downwards. Now, if you again hold this object in the pronated position, which is this position right here on the right side, uh, the object again appears to go downwards, but now it's moving from the mid pad to the fingertip motion. Uh, and this is the basic question that we want to answer through our experiment, that in these there's like a coordinate transformation that is happening, that the same motion on the hand is represented differently just because there's another added component called proprioception. Um, so to study this design, we had this following experiment design. Basically, we had a 2AFC task where the subjects had to tell whether the stimulus was moving away or towards the thumb edge of their palm. Um, and then the second task, which we called the left-right task, the subjects had to tell whether the stimulus was moving leftwards or rightwards with respect to the center of their body. The proprioceptive transformations that we did throughout was that there are three different postures involved. So now, compared to the Pace studies that I introduced before, there are multiple proprioceptive states involved. And we asked the subjects to what we call a vertical position, a horizontal position, and the inverted vertical position of the hand. And the subjects basically had to decipher these two tasks when the stimulus was presented in 12 different directions in steps of 30 degree. These are also just the stimulus properties there, which I'm just going to quickly skip by. Uh, we Through this experiment design, we predicted that we're going to see these couple of things here. One, in the skin centric motion, which was the idea of whether the stimulus is moving away or towards the thumb. They are derived from the full vector average model, which were predicted by Pei, and are independent of the proprioceptive modulation. So no matter the hand is in horizontal, inverted, vertical, or vertical position, we're going to see the same skin-centric motion. But in the egocentric motion case, where the representations are now derived by a coordinate transform of the motion information that was presented on the skin, that would be indeed controlled by the proprioceptive state of the arm. And that brings us to the results that we found when we conducted this 2FC task with these two task designs. First, I'm going to present the results of the away towards the thumb task, which was the skin-centric task in which we predicted that the modulation was going to be independent of the proprioceptive modulation. So if we look at the red curve here and we see the away towards the thumb task, 0 degree case is always going to be towards the thumb. I made the infographic wrong. So 0 degree is always going to be away from the thumb, but in this case, 0 degree is always 0 degree is always away from the thumb. Right, exactly. So the proportion of responses we see towards the thumb go down to 0. And this is the vertical case. So I'm just looking at the green plot here. And as soon as I move towards 180 degree, I totally move towards the thumb. So I see 180 at 180 degree, also at minus 150 almost, I see stimulus responses going towards the thumb. Same is the case if I have it in the inverted vertical condition now. That 180 degree is going to be always towards the thumb, away is going to be always 0 degree, because the motion on the skin is not modulated by the proprioceptive state. We see the same thing in the horizontal case. Now comes the case where we do have proprioceptive modulation, was the idea of the task of the left-right task. This could be seen a transformation of these curves by different amounts by these modulations. So now we come back to the vertical case, which is going to be exactly same here as the away towards the thumb case, because the discrimination line for the both of them are overlapping. So the left cases were also the cases which were away from the thumb, and the right were the cases which were also towards the thumb. In the inverted vertical case, we see a direct inversion. What was previously away, what was away from the thumb becomes right instead of left. So vertical condition is a total opposite of the inverted vertical condition, and that's why we see total inversion there. For the horizontal case, which is the blue curve here, we see a 90-degree phase shift of the curves from the away towards the thumb task to the left-right task. We were also able to model these predictions from a Bayesian Q integration model. Here, these are the two different generative models we used for the different tasks. X is just the stimulus generated, like the noisy stimulus around the experimenter set value E with a variance sigma. SH is the possible states in the hand-centric coordinate frame, which was the away towards the thumb task here. So whatever the motion on the hand is, sigma p is just the variance of the possible stimulus states. For the left-right task now, H is the proprioceptive transformation, which leads to the transformation between those two curves. SW is now the state in the egocentric coordinate frame, which was the left-right case we discussed. And SH basically generates from SW in this case around this transformation now. And sigma h is just the variance in the proprioceptive transformation. So we have basically 4 parameters, 3 of which I introduced here, plus a bias parameter. And for the curves we saw previously, we were able to obtain similar results for individual subjects. So these are just like template results that we got from our Bayesian Q integration model, but we were able to fit it to individual subjects as well. In conclusion, we found that subjects can flexibly switch between these two coordinate representations. Individual subjects can be explained by a Bayesian optimal Q integration model. We are now also testing suboptimalities there and finding cases where we would add not degeneracy. So that's what we are working on the model next. Lastly, we are also analyzing EEG data while the subjects perform this experiment. So we can possibly locate coordinate transformation circuitries for future electrophysiological recordings that we want to do on monkeys. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Himanshu. That's a great talk. Unfortunately, we don't have that much time. So if there's a quick question, you can ask. Otherwise, we have to quickly go to the next session. If you want to type question, just go to Q&A. Does it change when you have like different position of the arm, like different fingers? This curve that you showed you.
So something that we are planning as a supplementary experiment is the idea that we do it on multiple fingers just to see if there's any bias when the subjects perform this on one finger instead of the other. So we do see some bias because the left index finger is closer to the thumb than the other fingers. So we do see some bias there. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's very promising. Thank you so much, Anshu. And for your talk. We have to go to next talk. Our next speaker.